coming to the end of National Police Week, a time to honor and remember the officers who served and those who gave their lives in the line of duty.
And during this week, Illinois Representative Eric Sorensen joined 24 other Democrats to call for funding for critical public safety programs that help law enforcement agencies. Joining us now to talk about this effort is Representative Sorensen. Eric, thank you for being here.
Good morning, Dustin and Jenna. Good to be with you.
Good morning. Now, Eric, to start, part of this call for funding comes after your roundtable discussion with law enforcement agencies here or there in Illinois. What was one of the top issues you were told about?
Look, I mean, we need to make sure that we don't just say that we support the police. We have to make sure that we do it. Being a police officer, being in law enforcement is one of the most noble careers that people can have. One of the things that we've got to be able to do is focus on our young adults, our kids today, to be able to focus them and see, if they want to serve in this capacity, but then we have to make sure that we open up the opportunities for them to be able to be law enforcement in our communities. And so it is not just about saying that you support the police, it's showing up. For me, being the member of Congress, it's listening to the needs and then coming to Washington to advocate.
And so, Eric, you and other lawmakers are asking for funding for several specific programs. One of those that I thought was kind of interesting is dealing with high drug trafficking areas. And obviously, we've heard a ton about the drug epidemic, not only just in the country, but here in the Quad Cities, something that we deal with a lot. And so how do you see more funding helping that issue?
Jenna, this is personal for so many families in our district. When I talk with constituents, hearing from more and more family members where fentanyl has now touched family members, understanding from just a couple of weeks ago when I went on a bipartisan trip to the southern border, understanding how this is slipping through the cracks, how we need to fill the cracks at the southern border, but then how we need to make sure that we fund law enforcement in the entire process so that we can find the fentanyl before it gets in the hands of our kids. And that is part of this letter that I, along with 24 other colleagues in the House, have given to leadership to be able to say that it's not just fentanyl, it's community policing. It's making sure that we take care of the DNA backlog. It's making sure that we solve gun crimes, that we need to have the all of the above approach to dealing with these complex issues. It's not just a one-off and easy a write of a check or a slip of a pen onto a paper to be able to solve the problem.
Now, Eric, switching gears now, we want to quickly talk about the paused plans to change the USPS Milan facility to a local processing site. It's been paused through this year. Do you see that being permanent? And what do we need to make happen to keep those jobs here?
Well, certainly I hope so. Dustin, we've got to make sure that, when I put a letter into my mailbox in Moline that's going to Rock Island, it shouldn't go to Chicago to get back to the Quad Cities. Same thing on the other side of the river. You shouldn't have to mail something in Davenport. It goes to Des Moines, then back to Bettendorf. Also, we have a great facility in Milan. It is very efficient. We've got a great facility in Peoria. It's very efficient. We shouldn't change the parts of the United States postal system that work today. And so I'm going to continue to work with the Postmaster General to make sure that we can keep that Milan facility open. And I was proud to lead the effort to keep these jobs here for now. But now we've got to make sure that these aren't in jeopardy going future into the next year.
Now, Eric, real quick, I know you said you're going to continue to work with them, but how do you do that to make sure those jobs stay here?
Right. Let's understand that in this Congress, it's going to take bipartisan effort. And so I was grateful that Congressman Darren LaHood felt the need to so strongly stand up for these jobs and for our neighbors. And so, I want to thank him. It's going to take Republicans and Democrats to work together. And that just goes back to this common denominator that we have in this Congress. The best parts, the only parts that are working today are the ones where there are people in the middle of the aisle having handshakes, being able to fight for the things together. And so going forward, we need to make sure that the United States Postal Service and the Postmaster General knows how important the Milan facility is to the overall scope of the Postal Service.
Now, Eric, is that to make that happen, is it increased funding or what exactly needs to happen for that?
Well, we need to make sure that streamlining process doesn't mean that we ship jobs over to the bigger cities. We have to understand that, if these jobs go away in Milan, it means that there's going to be an increased delay for seniors to get their medications, for us to get what we need in Amazon, from the Amazon distribution center in Davenport. We shouldn't have to have a package go from the Davenport distribution center to Bedford Park, Illinois, to get back to Coal Valley. And so we need to look at ways that not only we streamline the process, but we have to make sure that it doesn't come at the expense of jobs.
All right, Eric, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.